Did you know there's only one human being in all of history who became an angel without dying first? His name was Enoch, but after his transformation, he became known as Metatron, the angel who sits so close to God's throne that some people actually mistake him for God himself. But here's what will blow your mind. Metatron is the only angel who knows what it feels like to be human, because he used to be one of us. He experienced hunger, pain, love, and fear before becoming one of the most powerful beings in creation. Yet his story was almost completely erased from the Bible. Why would God choose to transform a human into an angel? What made Enoch so special that he skipped death entirely? And why is Metatron's existence so controversial that most Christians have never even heard his name? Stay with us, because what you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about the boundary between human and divine, and why some transformations are too incredible for most people to believe. Before Enoch became the mighty angel Metatron, he was just a man, but not an ordinary man. He was someone who did something no one else in human history has ever accomplished. He walked with God for 300 years and never died. Picture this. While everyone around him lived normal human lives, working, struggling, aging, and eventually dying, Enoch spent 3 centuries in daily conversation with the creator of the universe. Can you imagine what that would do to a person? Day after day, year after year, learning directly from God himself. The Bible gives us only a few verses about Enoch, but those verses contain one of the most mysterious statements ever written. Enoch walked with God, then he was no more, because God took him away. That phrase, "he was no more," doesn't mean he died, it means he vanished from the human realm entirely. But ancient texts that didn't make it into the Bible tell us much more about what happened to Enoch. According to the Book of Enoch and other Hebrew sources, his transformation didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process that changed him from the inside out. As Enoch spent more time in God's presence, his human nature began to change. His body started to glow with divine light. His mind expanded to comprehend cosmic mysteries that would drive ordinary humans insane. His spirit became so aligned with God's will that he could no longer exist fully in the human world. But here's what's truly incredible. Enoch didn't lose his humanity when he was transformed. He transcended it. Unlike angels who were created as pure spiritual beings, Enoch retained his human memories, emotions, and experiences while gaining angelic power and knowledge. This unique combination made him something unprecedented in creation, a being who could understand both human struggles and divine purposes. He became the perfect bridge between heaven and earth, mortality and eternity. The ancient texts describe the moment of his transformation as the most spectacular event in human history. God didn't just take Enoch to heaven, he literally rewrote Enoch's existence, transforming every cell, every thought, every aspect of his being from human to angelic. But why would God do such a thing? What purpose required creating an angel who had once been human? The answer reveals something profound about God's plan for humanity that most people never consider. When Enoch arrived in heaven, something unprecedented happened that sent shockwaves through the entire celestial realm. The other angels had never seen anything like it, a human being transformed into one of them while retaining human memories and experiences. According to ancient Hebrew texts, the angels didn't know how to react. Here was someone who looked like them, possessed their power, but had experienced things they never could: physical pain, human love, the fear of death, the struggle of temptation. Enoch was simultaneously one of them and completely different. But God had a specific reason for this transformation. He gave Enoch a new name, Metatron, which means one who occupies the throne next to the divine throne. This wasn't just a title. It was a position of authority that placed him above almost every other angel in heaven. Think about what this means. A former human being was given authority over angels who had served God since the beginning of creation. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, all of these mighty archangels now had to acknowledge the authority of someone who used to change diapers and worry about his next meal. The transformation itself was beyond anything the universe had ever witnessed. Ancient texts describe how Enoch's flesh became flame. His bones became burning coals. His eyes became torches of fire. His human body was literally converted into a form of living light that could withstand the presence of God himself. But the most shocking part of Metatron's transformation was what God did next. He gave him a throne. Not just any throne, but one position so close to God's own throne that anyone looking at them from a distance might think they were seeing two divine beings instead of one. This caused a crisis in heaven. Some angels began to worship Metatron, thinking he was another aspect of God himself. The situation became so problematic that God had to intervene, establishing clear boundaries about Metatron's role and authority. Metatron was given responsibilities that no other angel possessed. He became the keeper of divine secrets, the scribe who records every deed of every human being, and the voice that speaks God's words to prophets and holy men. He wasn't just an angel, he was God's most trusted advisor and representative. But here's where things get really interesting. Metatron's human origins gave him insights that purely spiritual beings couldn't possess. He understood temptation because he had faced it. He knew the weight of moral choices because he had made them. He comprehended human suffering because he had experienced it. This made him incredibly effective at his new role, but it also made him controversial. Some religious leaders throughout history have been uncomfortable with the idea that a former human could hold such a position of authority in heaven. Here's where Metatron's story becomes truly mind-blowing. According to ancient sources, he possesses powers that are almost godlike in their scope. He's described as having 36 pairs of wings, each one covered with millions of eyes that see everything happening in creation simultaneously. But it gets even more incredible. Some texts claim that Metatron's body is so massive it would take 500 years to walk from his head to his feet. His voice, when he speaks on God's behalf, can be heard across all dimensions of existence. When he writes in the heavenly books, reality itself shifts to accommodate what he records. Think about that for a moment, an angel whose very existence challenges our understanding of what's possible. Metatron doesn't just observe history, he helps write it. He doesn't just deliver God's messages, he sometimes speaks with God's own voice and authority. This is why early church leaders had such a problem with Metatron's story. How do you explain to ordinary believers that there's an angel who was once human and now possesses near-divine power? How do you prevent people from worshiping him instead of God? The solution was simple but drastic. They removed almost every reference to Metatron from the biblical texts that would become standard. The few mentions of Enoch that remain give no hint of his incredible transformation or his current role in heaven. But they couldn't erase him completely, because Metatron's influence runs too deep through religious history. In Jewish mystical tradition, he's known as the Lesser YHWH, a title that suggests he carries God's own authority and power. Some sources even claim that when Moses saw the burning bush, he was actually encountering Metatron speaking on God's behalf. The Islamic tradition preserves similar accounts, describing an angel named Idris, identified with Enoch, who was elevated to a position of incredible honor and authority. These parallel traditions suggest that Metatron's story was so fundamental to early religious understanding that it survived in multiple forms despite attempts to suppress it. But perhaps the most controversial aspect of Metatron's existence is his role in what some texts call the throne vision. Multiple prophets throughout history, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Daniel, describe seeing two figures on heavenly thrones. While most interpretations focus on God alone, some ancient sources suggest these prophets were seeing God and Metatron together. This raises profound theological questions that made religious authorities deeply uncomfortable. If Metatron sits on a throne next to God, what does that mean for divine unity? If he speaks with God's voice, how do we distinguish between God's words and Metatron's? If he possesses near-divine power, where do we draw the line between worship and respect? These questions were considered too dangerous for ordinary believers to wrestle with, so Metatron's story was pushed into the margins of religious literature, preserved only in mystical texts that most people would never see. Because Metatron used to be human, he possesses knowledge that no other angel can claim. He knows what it's like to live with free will, to face genuine moral choices, to struggle with temptation while having the power to resist it. This unique perspective makes him incredibly valuable to God's plan for humanity. Ancient texts describe Metatron as the keeper of the book of life, not just a record of who's saved and who's damned, but a detailed account of every choice, every struggle, every moment of growth in every human life. He understands the weight of these records because he once lived them himself. But here's what's truly remarkable. Metatron advocates for humanity in ways that other angels cannot. When God's justice demands punishment, Metatron can speak from experience about human weakness and the possibility of redemption. He doesn't just observe human behavior, he remembers what it felt like to be tempted, to fail, to struggle with doubt and fear. This advocacy role has made Metatron one of humanity's greatest champions in the heavenly realm. Some sources suggest that many times when God's anger was kindled against human sin, it was Metatron who reminded the Almighty of human frailty and the capacity for repentance. The ancient book of Enoch describes how Metatron was shown the future of humanity, not just the broad sweeps of history, but the individual stories of countless people who would face the same struggles he once faced. This vision gave him a deep compassion for human weakness combined with an unshakable faith in human potential. But Metatron's knowledge extends far beyond human affairs. As the scribe of heaven, he records the deeds of angels, demons, and spiritual beings across all dimensions of existence. He knows the secret histories of cosmic conflicts, the hidden motivations behind supernatural events, and the ultimate destiny of all created beings. Some texts claim that Metatron possesses the 72 names of God, sacred words of power that can reshape reality itself. These names represent aspects of divine authority that were entrusted to him because of his unique position as both former human and current angel. This knowledge makes Metatron incredibly powerful, but it also isolates him. He knows things that would terrify other angels and overwhelm human minds. He carries the weight of cosmic secrets that no other being can fully understand or share. Perhaps most importantly, Metatron knows the ultimate purpose behind his transformation. His existence as a human-turned angel isn't just a one-time miracle. It's a preview of God's ultimate plan for redeemed humanity. According to some interpretations, Metatron represents what all faithful humans will eventually become, beings who retain their essential humanity while being elevated to angelic status. This interpretation suggests that heaven isn't just a place where humans go to worship God forever. It's a realm where humanity will be transformed into something greater while remaining essentially human. Metatron is the proof of concept, the first example of what awaits those who walk closely with God. But Metatron's most important work isn't in the past, it's in the future. According to various prophetic traditions, this human-turned angel has a crucial role to play in the end times that will demonstrate why his transformation was necessary from the beginning. Some sources describe Metatron as the angel who will sound the final trumpet, calling all humanity to judgment. But unlike other angels who might approach this task with divine detachment, Metatron will blow that trumpet with full understanding of what it means for every human being who hears it. Think about the profound implications of this, the final call to judgment delivered by someone who once faced judgment himself as a mortal human being. Metatron won't just be announcing the end of human history. He'll be witnessing the completion of a journey he himself began as a man walking with God. Ancient texts suggest that during the final judgment, Metatron will serve as humanity's advocate before the divine throne. His unique perspective, understanding both divine justice and human frailty, makes him the perfect intermediary for this cosmic court proceeding. But here's where Metatron's role becomes truly extraordinary. Some traditions claim he will assist in the final transformation of redeemed humanity. Just as he was changed from human to angel, he will help guide the process that elevates faithful humans to their eternal angelic state. This transformation won't be the destruction of humanity, but its fulfillment. Humans won't stop being human. They'll become what humanity was always meant to be. Metatron serves as both the prototype and the guide for this ultimate evolution of the human species. The Book of Revelation, though it doesn't mention Metatron by name, contains images that some scholars connect to his ministry. The figure who holds the scroll of human destiny, who speaks with the voice of God, who bridges heaven and earth. These could all be references to the angel who was once a man named Enoch. But Metatron's end times role extends beyond just helping humans. According to some sources, he will also serve as the final judge of angelic beings who have rebelled against God. His authority to judge angels comes from his unique position as someone who chose faithfulness despite having the option to rebel. This creates an incredible irony. Angels who fell from grace will be judged by someone who rose from humanity to angelic status. The contrast couldn't be more stark: beings created perfect who chose rebellion, versus a being born flawed who chose faithfulness and was rewarded with transformation. Some mystical traditions go even further, suggesting that Metatron will play a role in the creation of the new heaven and new earth described in Revelation. His experience of transformation from one state of being to another makes him uniquely qualified to assist in the transformation of all reality. In this role, Metatron would serve as both architect and guide, helping to design the new creation based on his understanding of what both humans and angels need to flourish. The new heaven wouldn't just be a place where angels dwell and humans visit. It would be a realm specifically designed for transformed humanity. You might be wondering why any of this matters for your life today. After all, Metatron's transformation happened thousands of years ago, and you're probably not expecting God to turn you into an angel anytime soon. But Metatron's story reveals something crucial about your own spiritual potential that you might never have considered. The fact that Enoch was transformed from human to angel proves something remarkable. The gap between humanity and divinity isn't as wide as we often think. You weren't created to remain limited by your current human constraints forever. You were made for transformation, for growth, for a destiny that transcends your present limitations. Metatron's story shows us that God doesn't just tolerate human nature, He can perfect it. The qualities that make you human, your emotions, your experiences, your struggles, your capacity for growth. These aren't obstacles to overcome but raw materials for transformation. Here's what's really encouraging about Metatron's example. He didn't become an angel by stopping being human. He became an angel by becoming the best possible version of a human being. His walk with God didn't erase his humanity. It elevated it to its ultimate potential. This means that every choice you make to draw closer to God, every moment you choose faithfulness over rebellion, every time you walk in integrity despite temptation, you're following the same path that led to Enoch's transformation. You're participating in the same process that turned a mortal man into one of heaven's most powerful angels. But Metatron's story also reveals something about the nature of spiritual authority that most people miss. His power in heaven doesn't come from abandoning his human experiences, but from integrating them with divine purpose. His authority is greater precisely because he understands both sides of the divine-human relationship. This suggests that your current struggles and experiences aren't just obstacles to endure. They're training for greater spiritual responsibility. Every challenge you face with faithfulness, every temptation you overcome, every act of compassion you show, these are preparing you for roles in God's kingdom that you can't even imagine yet. The most profound truth about Metatron's transformation is that it wasn't just a reward for past faithfulness. It was preparation for future service. God didn't turn Enoch into an angel so he could retire in heavenly comfort. He transformed him to equip him for responsibilities that required both human understanding and angelic power. Your life today is part of that same preparation process. The experiences that seem most difficult, the growth that feels most challenging, the choices that require the most courage, these are all shaping you for a destiny that extends far beyond your current circumstances. Metatron's existence proves that God's plan for humanity is far grander than most people realize. You're not just saved from something, you're saved for something. You're not just forgiven for your past. You're being prepared for a future that will require everything you're learning now. The story of Metatron, the human who became an angel, reveals one of the most encouraging truths in all of spiritual literature. Transformation is possible, growth never ends, and your current limitations don't define your ultimate potential. Whether or not church leaders were right to minimize Metatron's story in the biblical canon is a question for scholars and theologians. But the spiritual truths his transformation reveals, that humans can be elevated, that divine and mortal can be integrated, that your experiences prepare you for greater purpose. These truths echo throughout Scripture whether Metatron is named or not. Enoch's journey from human to angel wasn't just a one-time miracle. It was a preview of what awaits everyone who chooses to walk closely with God. Your struggles today are preparing you for responsibilities tomorrow that will require both your human experiences and divine empowerment. The next time you feel limited by your human nature, remember Metatron. The next time you wonder if your spiritual growth matters, think about the man who walked with God until he was transformed into one of heaven's most powerful angels. The path of transformation is still open, and your journey on it has already begun. If this incredible story of human transformation has opened your eyes to the hidden possibilities in biblical history, you absolutely must see our next video. Did you know there's an angel so feared that even Satan avoids confronting him directly? His name is Camel, and he's known as the strength of God, the angel who single-handedly destroyed entire cities and nations. But here's the shocking part. Camel is preparing for one final mission that will make his past destructions look like minor warnings. Ancient prophecies suggest he's been positioned for a role in the end times that will demonstrate God's justice in ways that will terrify even the forces of hell. This angel's power is so absolute that when he moves, reality itself bends to accommodate his mission. Kings and empires have fallen at his approach, but his ultimate target is something far more significant than any earthly kingdom. Click the video appearing on your screen right now to discover why this angel of divine wrath has remained hidden in the shadows for centuries, and what his emergence means for our world today. This isn't just ancient history. It's a preview of justice that's coming whether humanity is ready or not. Don't miss this revelation about the angel whose very presence changes the spiritual climate of entire regions. Click now and prepare to understand divine justice in ways that will forever change how you see God's patience and power.